All right, look who's on the couch, Rudy Giuliani, President Trump's brand new attorney.
All right, you got me here.
Let's start. We're going to talk about Stormy Daniels and that payment, and you're going to break some news on that. But first, let's start with Robert Mueller. You're his new attorney. What are the possibilities that the president will sit down with him for 2, maybe 3 hours tops?
Well, that's the amount of time, Steve, that we would allow, only because that's what Clinton got. He got only 2.5 hours, and he fought with them over discovery. We've given them 1.2 million documents. Didn't fight with them over it. We could have raised presidential privilege, other privileges. We gave them a complete picture of what's going on. They should be able to do this if they have a case in 2.5 hours, or they want to dispose of it.
The judge Napolitano was just on there and says, you don't want to aggravate the investigative committee. They don't like these limitations or putting out parameters. What's your reaction to that?
Tough luck. This is the cards we've been dealt. And if you do it for Clinton, I'm sorry. Maybe they like to give us all the things that Clinton got, like the memo written before the interview, like no under oath,
right?
Like Comey making up his mind before he ever interviewed her, and your lawyers in the room, all of whom were witnesses, sitting there making signals at you.
And they all got deals.
Right.
And so we're asking for only one thing, quite reasonable. This is the President of the United States. He's getting ready to negotiate probably one of our most historic agreements since the opening to China.
And Nick's another with Iran, perhaps.
Yeah, and we got Kim Jong-un impressed enough to be releasing 3 prisoners today, and I've got to go there, and Jay Sekulow and the Rasners, we have to go there and prepare him for this silly deposition about a case in which he supposedly colluded with the Russians, but there's no evidence of that. I mean, everybody forgets the basis of the case is dead. Sessions should step in and close it and say, enough's enough.
But, Mr. Mayor, you look at the questions. They don't think collusion's dead. If you look at those 52 questions that we saw.
Yeah, but they're ridiculous questions. Like, what did you think? What did you feel?
Yeah, Dan Bongino.
What were you dreaming? Did you have any dreams? I thought Freud wrote them.
Right. We had Dan Bongino on, and he said, what's interesting, when he was a federal agent, he said, if there was a crime, we would investigate to find out who was involved in it. He said, here, we feel like they're targeting the president, and then they're trying to find a crime.
That's right on target, isn't it? This started as collusion with the Russians. No.
Right.
Now they go to obstruction of justice, collusion among the players. What they're really trying to do is trap them into perjury.
Right. So let's talk about...
And we're not suckers.
So right now, it's still up in the air.
Let me ask him just one quick question. What are the chances, like 50-50, 40-60, that he'll...
Before they raided a lawyer's office, which will turn out to be an outrageous violation of the attorney-client privilege, before they put out the questions and completely soil the atmosphere, the chances were pretty good. Now we're going to have some convincing to do. They're going to have to convince us they can be objective and they're not out to get it.
50-50?
I don't want to put a percentage on it. It's not as good as it was when I first came into it.
Is it ultimately going to be up to the president? Is he going to go with your recommendation?
No. I mean, yes, he will, I think, but it might not. Right. I mean, a lawyer has to be in a position of making a recommendation. Sure. Then you got to go either way. You can't just walk out and huff.
So what made a lot of news last night, everything you made, because we haven't seen you in a while, and now you have this prominent position representing the president's legal team that's just been reformed. You got a new lineup out there. You said about Michael Cohen and the private money, Stormy Daniels got paid $130,000. Michael Cohen said, hey, I took this out. I took a loan out to her to pay it. The president said I didn't know anything about it. You came out last night and said, I looked at the receipts. This was done through private, nothing to do with campaign funds. It was done through a retainer.
That's clear as bell.
Right. It's been done through a retainer fee, and eventually he got paid back, and he just found out about it just now in you going through this. So the president tweeted out this morning to further explain, because this ends up being the biggest story of the day and the night. Mr. Cohen, an attorney, received a monthly retainer not from the campaign and having nothing to do with the campaign, from which he entered into through reimbursement. A private contract between two parties known as a non-disclosure agreement, or an NDA. These agreements are very common among celebrities and people of wealth. In this case, it is in full force and effect and will be used in arbitration for damages against Miss Clifford, who's Stormy Daniels.
Right.
The agreement was used to stop the false extortionist accusations made by her about an affair, despite already having signed a detailed letter admitting that there was no affair prior to its violation by Miss Clifford and her attorney. This was a private agreement. Money from the campaign or campaign contributions played no role in this transaction.
I don't think there's any contradiction to that. That's what I said last night. People were indeed surprised, which is why I think this is a tweet that's very valuable, because the president indicates he understood it. He didn't know the details of this until we knew the details of it, which is a couple weeks ago. Maybe not even maybe 10 days ago. Remember when this came up? October 2016. I was with him day in and day out then. I can't remember the details of what happened. And this was, I know 135,000, I don't want to, demean anyone, but 135,000 seems like a lot of money. It's not when you're putting $100 million into your campaign. It isn't pocket change, but it's pretty close to it at the end.
Last night when you were on with Sean, we were all watching the interview, and I feel sorry for Melania and all of this. It's humiliating. It's embarrassing. No, I don't know if we'll ever really know what happened there, if it's any of our business, to be honest with you. Maybe it is, since he's the president. But something that did stand out to me, I remember when Michael Cohen was interviewed about it, and it seemed like he was saying that he was never reimbursed that $130,000, and now it sounds like the story's changing.
Well, he was definitely reimbursed. There's no doubt about it.
So why did he say he wasn't?
Maybe. First of all, if we had to defend this as not being a campaign contribution, I think we could do that. This was for personal reasons. This was the president had been hurt personally, not politically, personally so much, and the first lady, by some of the false allegations. That one more false allegation, 6 years old. I think he was trying to help the family, and for that, the man is being treated like some kind of villain, and I think he was just being a good lawyer. And a good man.
So there were no campaign violations because it was out of Donald Trump's pocket.
That makes it nice and clear. But it wasn't for the campaign. Right. It was to save their not their marriage as much as their reputation.
So let's go into that. Why was the $130,000 payment given to Stephanie Clifford?
That's what they negotiated.
But why did the campaign, or why did the attorney pay her the money? What was she alleging?
Well, she was alleging, although there's the contrary letter that she signed, that it never happened, that there was a one-time affair. And I think when Cohen heard 130,000, he said, "My God, this is cheap. They come cheap. Let me get the thing signed up and signed off."
So, in other words, to make it go away rather than fight this allegation.
Well, don't you think a lot of these people would pay that when they can? I mean, I can't disclose. I represented clients who paid substantially more than that.
Does this happen a lot, like he said in that tweet? When you're wealthy,
yeah. Well, first of all, if you're wealthy, you're a target. If you're wealthy, you're a target. I mean, we had a case, very famous person. This woman was a professional. You could do a movie about it. She was a professional that would hit on rich guys, older ones, and then shake them down for a couple $1 million.
Right.
So you're saying that Stephanie Clifford made these allegations, told Donald Trump's lawyer, look, I'm going to go public,
and denied them. And then said it wasn't true. However, imagine if that came out on October 15th, 2016, in the middle of the last debate with Hillary Clinton.
So to make it go away, they made this
Cohen
payment.
didn't even ask. Cohen made it go away. He did his job.
Right. So I got to bring him. Michael Avenatti, who represents Stormy Daniels, he wants to get a TV show or something.
Yeah, he wants to get a TV show.
He watched your interview last night. He said this.
The TV show he could get is,
Well, yeah, well,
ambulance chase.
He evidently asked MSNBC for one, and they laughed. He said, "I'm rarely as
even MSNBC left."
Right? Yes, they did.
My God, he must be
says,
terrible.
"I'm rarely, as your viewers know, rendered speechless, but I'm absolutely speechless at this revelation and admission. This is an outrage. What has gone on here? The American people have been lied to about this agreement.
Yeah, well,
about the $130,000.
The whole investigation is that
about the reimbursement. This is consistent with what we've been saying for months. This ultimately is going to be proven, and ultimately we're going to come out." He went on to say, "This proves the president will not finish his term."
I don't get any of that. What is it? It proves what we've been saying from the beginning. It had nothing to do with the campaign. It was a personal matter. It proves that they're stick-up artists. I don't believe he was the attorney back then. So he's trying to make up for what he thinks, he's trying to make money.
Yeah.
It turned out, when you look at it, they figured they should have gotten a lot more than $135,000 for it. It should be in the seven figures. And this guy wants to. Is he going to give up his 1/3 of it? I doubt it.
Okay.
I mean, he's going to take that money and jump in the next ambulance.
All right, let's talk a little bit about something else. James Comey, former FBI director, you're at loggerheads with him. Didn't you hire him at some point?
Did you have to say that? The president keeps saying that. Didn't you inflict this guy on us to begin with?
But you were saying he's a liar and essentially a terrible person because he's making
a terrible
stuff
person.
up.
I think he's a liar. I mean, he's Oh, let's say he lied. McCabe would tell you he lied, his number 2 guy.
But it was proven McCabe lied.
Well,
4 times, 3 times under oath.
Right, and he lied 3 or 4 times. I mean, and also refused to say that the president wasn't a target, when in fact he had done that for Hillary Clinton, completely botched the Clinton investigation. There's nobody that doesn't think his handling that was disgraceful. Now, how he can be put up as a model of credibility, I mean, they're dreaming if they think he'd ever get in court and we wouldn't rip him apart.
So the one thing is, what McCabe has said is, I told Comey I'm going to talk to the Wall Street Journal and tell this story, and they say they do that. And Comey says, he's never told me anything. So McCabe and Comey are at loggerheads now. That's what this is.
So I'm going to bet on that one McCabe's telling the truth. Why wouldn't he go to his boss, who's the leaker in chief?
Right.
Right? Another disgrace. Illegal, by the way. I contend the only crimes committed so far in this investigation are the ones they committed, the government committed. Right. Comey leaked in order to get a special prosecutor. Why wouldn't McCabe go to him and say,
what did the president
can I do what you did, boss? Can I leak too, illegally and unethically?
What did the president say to you after your appearance last night?
The president was quite pleased that we're making progress. We're moving along.
Much more aggressive than had been.
Yeah, well, it's not going to get any less aggressive.
Why did you decide to join the team?
Because I believe he's one of the best presidents we've ever had. I think we wouldn't be sitting here talking about North Korea, maybe a peaceful resolution without Donald Trump. I think these miserable people who oppose him do not want to give him credit. And I wish they'd just give him credit as Americans. I don't care if they're liberal or conservative.
All right. Rudy, thank you very much.
Thank you, Steve.
It's great to see you again. Anyway, on a personal note, we miss seeing you on the couch.
We're back.
Glad you're feeling better, too.
You know I love coming here.
All right. We love having you.
Somebody else who works with the president is his press secretary, Sarah Sanders, is going to join us live next at 8:20.
Yep.
I got it.